Oh, you thought it was finished, sweetie, but this story is only beginning, and I promise you that it will get worse than you could have ever imagined. Kirk Frost believed he could ignore this and that a little damage management and PR would resolve the issue, but guess what? Reality hit him square in the face. Confront difficult circumstances following his startling arrest for reportedly beating Rasheeda. Kirk was already dealing with a lot of criticism, but now new information has surfaced that is worse than anyone could have predicted. We're talking about financial fraud, treachery, secret affairs, and a secret that might put Kirk in jail for years. Rasheeda, well, CIS isn't according to reports, she is actually preparing to strike Kirk where it hurts the most, his wallet. Just when you thought things couldn't get any worse, guess who Kirk was cheating with? Rasheeda has enlisted a top-tier legal team and is getting ready to deprive Kirk of everything, including his profession, business, and possessions. This isn't just a cheating scandal anymore, it's a full-fledged financial and emotional takedown. And Rasheeda is going to emerge victorious. Grab some popcorn because this story is about to blow up. Kirk Frost believed that since he had done it, he could get away with it. Prior to the infidelity, deceit, and manipulation, Rasheeda had always supported him and had forgiven him when he had a side child with Jasmine Washington, when he was caught having extramarital affairs, when the business dealings began to appear dubious, and when the rumors surfaced of financial malfeasance started to emerge. Rasheeda has always forgiven Kirk, but this time is different because Kirk not only betrayed her financially but also emotionally. He didn't just lie about cheating, instead, he created a whole new life behind her back, and when Rasheeda discovered the truth, actually, it all began months ago when Rasheeda noticed odd activity in their business accounts. At first, it was small amounts, $2,000 here, $5,000 there, but Kirk handled the majority of the finances, so Rasheeda didn't give it much thought until he snapped and put his hands on her. However, as the figures increased, fictitious company names began to appear on the records, and overnight wire transactions totaling tens of thousands of dollars vanished to offshore accounts. Since it was what she had always done, Rasheeda attempted to give Kirk the benefit of the doubt, believing that perhaps it was an error or perhaps Kirk was making some business investments, but Rasheeda realized something was amiss when suppliers began to complain about unpaid invoices and business partners began to back out of agreements. One evening, while they were sitting in their house, she confronted Kirk about it, and Kirk dismissed it as though it didn't exist and that you were overanalyzing the situation. It's business, you wouldn't understand, Kirk claimed, but Rasheeda wasn't buying it. She began studying the financial records on her own, and that's when things began to make sense. One evening, Rasheeda sat up late reviewing the bank statements. She saw a pattern. The same account number kept showing up with significant sums of money being transferred into it on a regular basis. When she checked the account name, her heart stopped because it was the name of one of her closest friends, a woman Rasheeda had known for years. Had been in her home, playing with her children at the dinner table, someone who had stood by Rasheeda during all of Kirk's past infidelity scandals, and now this woman was having an affair with Kirk, who was using Rasheeda's money to sustain their lifestyle. Rasheeda was shocked by this. Physically ill, but she required concrete evidence, so Rasheeda engaged a private investigator to look into it further. What he discovered, oh, it was worse than anyone could have imagined, was that Kirk had been seeing this woman for more than a year, taking her on first-class flights to Paris, Dubai, and the Bahamas. Rasheeda's business accounts were used to pay for five-star hotels and private villas, but to make matters worse, Kirk also used their joint business account to purchase this woman a condo in Miami. The mistress wasn't just any woman, though. Kirk had been emotionally involved with her, for Kirk had promised to leave Rasheeda and start over with the mistress, according to years of text messages between the two of them. He told her he was going to sell his portion of the company and put her name on the documents. Kirk was also planning to remove Rasheeda from the empire she had created with her own blood. Despite his tears and perspiration, Kirk laughed as Rasheeda presented him with the evidence. "You're not going to do anything about it," Kirk remarked, "because you need me." Rasheeda realized then that Kirk had been emotionally manipulating her for years. In terms of money, he wanted her to think that she couldn't live without him and that her success depended on him, but Rasheeda had created that empire, not Kirk, and she was about to take it all back. However, before she could do so, Kirk lost it, and the police report states that Kirk grabbed Rasheeda's arm and slammed her against the wall. Neighbors heard gunfire and glass shattering, so someone dialed 911. When the police showed up, Kirk was standing there composed as usual, but Rasheeda was sobbing, and bruises were beginning to appear on her arm. The officers didn't think twice, handcuffed Kirk, and released him from. Kirk was arrested for domestic violence on the spot after. He had the audacity to tell the police that the situation wasn't that serious. The real damage began when investigators searched Kirk's phone and discovered hundreds of text messages between Kirk and the flirtatious texts, private images, and financial discussions from a mistress, but the worst was that Kirk had been using Rasheeda's name and credentials to set up fictitious business deals in order to obtain loans, and he had even promised the mistress that he would take over her company and put everything in her name. Even went so far as to falsify Rasheeda's signature on a few of the contracts, and the mistress wasn't merely a passive participant. Her text messages revealed that she had been urging Kirk to fire Rasheeda and begin anew with her. As soon as Rasheeda was finished, she hired a group of top-tier when attorneys and forensic accountants looked into Kirk's financial activities. They discovered, it was damning, that he had stolen more than $2 million from their company accounts, committed tax fraud by transferring funds to offshore accounts without disclosing them, and broken several contracts, including the conditions of his commercial contract with Rasheeda, as well as the kicker. Kirk's legal team filed an emergency motion to freeze all of Kirk's assets, including his personal accounts and business interests, after Kirk used some of the stolen money to pay child support for the side baby he had with Jasmine Washington, and attributes Kirk was unable to use his own credit cards. Since Kirk had broken the conditions of their business contract, Rasheeda then filed for complete ownership of their company. If the judge agreed with her, Kirk would lose everything, including the business. The mistress flipped to protect herself. She consented to testify against Kirk and provided receipts, messages, and even recordings of Kirk confessing to financial fraud. Kirk faces up to 15 years in prison if found guilty of tax fraud and embezzlement, and since the assault charge is unrelated, Kirk may serve more time in prison for domestic abuse, and Kirk's career is already ruined because his sponsors have fired him. Social media is against him. Despite Kirk's most devoted admirers abandoning him, the hashtag #CancelKirk has been trending for days. Rasheeda, meanwhile, is doing well and has already agreed to a contract for a series of documentaries about the controversy. According to insiders, the show would cover Rasheeda's journey from betrayal to retaliation, and Kirk Frost, the title character, believed he was unbeatable and that Rasheeda would always forgive him. He believed he could steal from her, deceive her, cheat on her, and still leave clean, but Kirk misjudged Rasheeda, and now he's paying the price. Kirk is sitting in a jail cell, his business assets are frozen, his empire is collapsing, his side chick has turned against him, and Rasheeda is stealing everything because Kirk lost everything, not just his wife, and he truly deserves it. What will happen to Kirk next? According to insiders, Rasheeda is refusing to back down after years of financial theft, emotional abuse, and adultery, even though his legal team is already attempting to negotiate a plea agreement. Kirk is finally paying the price. He may spend up to 15 years in prison if found guilty of tax fraud and embezzlement. And the assault charges aren't even included. Rasheeda, is already preparing her next move. According to insiders, Rasheeda is nearing a multi-million-dollar documentary contract, and the internet will go down when the whole truth is revealed. Kirk's reputation is over, and his career is demolished, and Rasheeda is poised to triumph. Don't forget to click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and enable notifications, as when Kirk finally makes their voice heard, you'll want to be the first to hear it, and believe me when I say this, the scandal is still ongoing.